Um, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. First of all, allow me to extend our highest respect and welcome to His Excellency Kiai Haji Yahya Khalil Sakuf as a General Chairman of the Central Board of Nahdlatul Ulama, the Honorable Professor Dr. Haji Kamarudin Amin MA as a Chairman of the Central Board of the Association of Nahdlatul Ulama Scholars, or ISNU, the Honorable Mr. Sohail Satar Quraisy as the Chairman of Mitra Group and Binma Group, the Honorable Mr. Heri Haryanto Azumi as a Deputy Chairman of the Central Board of ISNU, and also here with us Mrs. Lucia, welcome, and of course all of the participants. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to welcome all of you to the ISNU Forum on Investment, Trade and Global Affairs, held under the theme Revisiting Gus Dur's Notion on Jakarta-Beijing-New Delhi Axis from the Memory of His International Advisor. This forum is not only a space of reflection, but also a strategy reconnecting us to the global vision of the late Kiai Haji Abdurrahman Wahid through the lens of those who walk alongside him on the international stage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's open this forum by reciting Al-Fatihah together. Thank you. Next, I kindly invite everyone to rise for the national anthem Indonesia Raya, followed by March Subhanul Waton and the ISNU anthem. Please stand.
wal jamaah, mengangkat martabat umatnya berdasarkan Pancasila dan Undang-Undang Dasar 45. Sejalan Nahdlatul Ulama, bersyukuri karunia Allah, negeri yang kaya raya atas alamnya, untuk umatnya. Mari berbakti, mengabdi dan beraksi untuk cita-cita, negeri yang adil, makmur dan sejahtera, Indonesia. Negeri yang adil, makmur dan sejahtera, Indonesia.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next on the agenda, we will hear a report and also welcoming speech from the Deputy Chairman of Central Board of ISNU. Please welcome Mr. Herianto Azumi. The time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa syukrulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, amma ba'du. Our distinguished speaker, Sir Suhail Sattar Quraisy, maybe he is one of the most weighted person today, because I have heard about him from my sister Lucia, that he has brought so many innovation in the world and will bring another innovation for NU. Please give applause to him. Our speaker also, actually he is my senior, because he is a Catholic priest, but also a humanitarian activist that has been knowing Gus Dur from beginning. He knew Gus Dur from 1995 maybe. Yes, before reform, he know Gus Dur very well, and he talked too much to Gus Dur, and Gus Dur talked too much to him, so that he know the first source about Gus Dur. And give applause to our senior. Our esteemed guest also from Dominica, our brother from Dominica, that's right. Welcome to Jakarta. Brother Kevin from Ireland, from North Ireland, right? But he is especially a citizen, national of UK, right? Welcome to NU. He is also activist. He married to a Sundanese woman, and he speaks very well Sundanese. He speaks even the very local language that I myself don't know about the language. Our senior from ISNU, there are so many chairmen here. ISNU is a scholar organization of NU. ISNU represent the most educated person in NU. They are coming from so many universities in the world, in Indonesia, and from the best university. So I think if you want to find the best talent in NU, you can find it in ISNU. Applause to ISNU. Also all the participants coming from many institutions. I cannot mention one by one the institution, but they are all part of our partners in developing the vision or mission of Gus Dur, that I think all of us have known so well about the mission of Mr. Abdurrahman Wahid, the late Mr. Abdurrahman Wahid. Ladies and gentlemen, I also sending the greetings and gratitude from our chairman, Mr. Kamarudin Amin. He is now serving as the Secretary General of the Ministry of Religious Affairs. He is now in the public hearing in the Parliament, so he is sending the gratitude and greeting to you. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, brother and sister, I think we have just have an audience with the chairman of Nahdlatul Ulama downstairs in the third floor, and our guest has given a proposal to make NU more powerful, more financially free, more connected to the system of the finance in the world. Actually, our forum today is to talk about the legacy of Gus Dur, because he is personally an advisor of Gus Dur since he was president in 2000, right? 2000. He was summoned to come to Gus Dur and to give advice about Indonesia, to give advice about NU. And Gus Dur always mentioned that he is a chairman of the biggest Muslim organization, that it is a big potential for Indonesia. We cannot separate Indonesia from NU and NU from Indonesia, so that it is well interconnected, and so that we have to include other organizations and other people, other religious denomination, to make a common vision, common ground about Indonesia. So that I invite personally Mr. Romo Paulus Agung Wijayanto, because I think we can connect these two great person. You know that Romo Agung is graduated from Hong Kong University. He personally studying about Buddhism from Hong Kong University, and we can pinpoint that one of the great blessing from God to Indonesia is that we have so many religious community here, that it is representing the totality, the all civilization in the world. We can have all civilization here in Indonesia, and so that we can begin anything from Indonesia. We can begin every move, political move, economic move, and of course peaceful move from Indonesia. That's why we want to unite these potentials. We want to unite this very opportunity to come together to be a good solution for Indonesia and the world. So I give the time for this discussion to the moderator. In ISNU, we can find many doctors graduating from many universities in the world. Please stand up, my brother. He's coming from Japan University, Kyushu University. He is a doctor in metallurgy. So also many brothers coming from other universities in the world that representing all skills, all disciplines, that making what we have just talked it is possible to do in NU. NU is very abundant of potential. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope this forum will be continued not only today, because we will have ISNU forum for investment, trade and global affairs, maybe monthly or bi-weekly, because we want to be a part of the movement in NU that Gus has taught as a trial to revive the idea and mission of Gus Dur. So as ISNU is part of this mission, so we are going together, we are rising together to be part of this movement. Thank you so much. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Heri Haryanto Azumi. And next, before we proceed to the main session, let us just take a moment to pray for the success and blessing of this forum. The prayer will be led by Mr. Khozin, so we kindly give the floor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ala hadiniya wa li kulli niyatin salihah. Al-Fatihah. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Rahmanir rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Hamdasy syakirin. حمد الناعمين حمد يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك الكريم وعظيم سلطانك اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعليه وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you for the prayer. And with that, the opening session of the ISNU Forum on Investment, Trade and Global Affairs is officially concluded. And now we moving forward to the main session of the forum. And I will now want to hand over the session to the moderator, our moderator, that will be lead the forum and the discussion. So please, Mr. Dr. Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'du. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers and guests, it is such a pleasure for me to be here and to be having this opportunity to talk with prominent scholars and guests and experts in this event. My name is Ibrahim Khalil Rahman. I am currently part of Innovation Bureau under Badan Inovasi led by Ibu Zanuba Abdurrahman Wahid and Pak Ghazin as well as our team. And it is really interesting topic that we are going to discuss today and very timely. The world has been changing a lot during a couple of periods. Never ever before we are witnessing such a turbulency in terms of economics and finance, capital flows, which had happened during the last couple of months. As we already predicted, the impact of all uncertainties have been quite big for many countries, including Indonesia. Earlier this year, we expected that Indonesia will reach 8% GDP growth. And now, entering the 5th month of 2025, all projection has been shifted. We are projected to only achieve 4.7 or 5 at best, which means that something should be done. And geopolitical tension is among others, tension between China and United States in terms of trade and capital flow, which is very crucial, especially for Indonesia, which mainly depending on China. So with reciprocal tariff set by Trump, 135% to China, it will be impacting Indonesia as well. In addition to direct impact that Trump charged Indonesia now in 32% up to 47%. So everything is going on. Everything is going on. And in terms of geopolitical tension, the topic today is trying to link the nexus between the spirit of Gus Dur. I would always imagine what would happen if Gus Dur were with us today. What will be his vision towards, current geopolitical tension? New Delhi or India used to be really our big friend, yeah. But now we see that India is becoming one of the most turbulent country with the friction between Muslim and Hindu, and never ever before we witnessed India in such segregated condition like today's. So will Gus Dur still get along with Modi, for instance? That's many questions arises in my mind. What will be happening with Gus Dur policy? Should he were with us today and witnessing all the uncertainty and all the instability in many aspects, in geopolitical aspect, economic aspect, trade aspect. So it is an honor for us to listen directly to Professor Suhail Quraishi, which is the chairman of Milcon Group and Borneo Group, who used to be the advisor of President Abdurrahman Wahid. And as Nahdien, myself, and everybody in this room, we would like to see what is your impression. If you have to mimic Gus Dur reaction on the current turbulency, what will be his thought? Yeah, and how will be PBNU and NU in particular lead these changes? Because we are so big, yeah, we are comprising more than 50-60% of Muslim, and our size is so big, and we have to do something. But in your opinion, what would be the you know the silver lining on the actions to be taken by Nahdien in this context? So as a moderator, I would invite Prof. Suhail to give remarks, maybe 20-30 minutes, and then I will invite Romo Paulus Agung Wijayanto to give further remarks, maybe from context that we are not witnessing now, but you have some foresee on what's going on, especially that we have just witnessing the new Pope being elected, Pope Leo, right? Yeah, and maybe something is happening with the Vatican, maybe something happening with how the world has been changing now. And then I'll also invite in my list Bapak Syed Muhammad Al-Hamid bin Ali Al-Asagov. Anyone? Yes? Yeah. Probably you can give some remarks as well today. And then afterwards, maybe we still have time, and I'll invite everyone to share comments, input, suggestion, so that we will have Ibu Lucia as well. Please give your remarks on what's going on, so we have more fruitful discussion. And I'll be happy to moderate without any conclusion, because I expect there is no conclusion in this discussion. But let's try to find a way to try to disentangle all the pieces of information, so that it will be important and an essential way to conclude our discussion. So without further ado, Prof. Suhail, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I wish to thank the distinguished scholars, esteemed leaders, brothers and sisters present here today. I am more inspired and more very impressed with the actual organization that the President Gustor and his father created. I had no idea. I have never been to this facility. I was never party to the actual organization. I just had several conversations with the leader in terms of who he was, what he represented, how he came to power, and what was his calling. And was he working for God? Was he working for people? Or was he working for his pocket, as most politicians do? I was very touched, very inspired. I was 25 years younger. I'm an old man now, but back then I was a young man. And I was absolutely flabbergasted to see the humanity and the compassion that a leader of not only this great nation, but to learn that he headed the largest Muslim organization in the world that I had never heard of. Even though I'm originally from Pakistan, lived in a Muslim country, never heard of NU. I never, one of the dilemmas of the Muslim Ummah has always been, in my mind, that we were never organized, and we were never united, and we never actually formed an economic force to implement the vision of the people that created us or put us together. Gustor always said that my power and the power of the Ummah that I represent is not in me as the president, it's in my people. He worked every day tirelessly from morning to night for you all and for your future generations. I met him literally in his office in very plain clothes with no fanfare, no politics, and it was very humbling for me to see that the first words of wisdom that he shared with me, he said, I just want you to know who I'm here to serve. I expected him to say the people of Indonesia. That was not his answer. He said, I'm here to serve God and to serve the people that I represent, which is you people. Again, was not aware of, at that time, you were 80 million or 60 million strong. I understand you're 160 million now, mashallah. God bless him. God bless you guys, and God bless Gusto and his father for creating this great organization. And if he were alive today, as you mentioned, what would I say to him as a foreigner, a globalist, and a financier? And I would simply say, as I learned from you 25 years ago, that the power is in the numbers. You guys are bigger than most countries. Why are you not in a position to do more? Clearly, it's all about money. Money drives economies. It drives people's dreams, ambitions. It also attracts greed and corruption. If we stay focused on the values and the principles of our late president and in the teachings of Islam, which he vividly followed, it is very clear to me that we need now, in this day and age, where there are a bunch of very strange leaders globally, I don't have to mention them by name, and the havoc that they're creating and causing is actually to our benefit. How do we leverage the power of this organization in the world of the global changes that are taking place? If that's the question, I would simply say that we need to empower the membership base of NU to a level like never before. And there are simple technologies that I have available that I have been able to fund, manage, and control, which I am willing to bring to NU to help you guys create the dream and the vision of your previous leaders and your current leaders. The burden of managing an organization like this must be immense on the current board and on the current team. It is very difficult to fulfill the needs of the needy without the means of financial support or the ability to basically earn, or you are a little, not a little, you are a very large country if you look at it from an economy point of view. If I was to give you, as I shared with the chairman, a very simple connection between technology, keeping it Sharia compliant, and addressing the needs of the people, I would simply say that the first thing that I would do or advise Gusto to do today would be to implement a payment platform and a platform that would enable and empower not just the wealthy members of NU, but all members of NU to have a financial interaction, a financial benefit, and the ability to interact with each other in a way that has never been imagined or envisioned or was possible 25 years ago. That technology is available today, and I will share it with your leadership. But just to translate that into dollars and cents or rupiah, if you take your 160 million members, and if we were to make a very broad, aggressive assumption, and to say that everybody was to join this platform that I'm suggesting you guys evaluate, and if each member was to spend an average of the equivalent of $1,000 a year, or whatever the rupiah equivalent is, that would be $1.6 trillion of economic power that this organization has. That is called the velocity of money. Okay, if you understand the velocity of money within your own community, and you take a small percentage of that to interact with each other, i.e. to transfer money from one member to another, from one business to another, etc., etc. Currently, your membership base and the people around the world are paying banks and financial institutions between 2 and 7% to transfer money. They take fees here, fees there, etc., etc. What if you were to, what if you had a platform that was able to provide it for a very nominal cost of, say, 1%? If you take that number, that translates into $1.6 billion in revenues for this organization. What could you do with $1.6 billion? You tell me. You can fund schools, you can fund hospitals, you can fund education, you can provide for the needy, you can subsidize your membership's desire to go to Mecca for Umrah and Hajj. You can provide free transportation to those that are not financially able. I have had the privilege of having performed Hajj and met many people from this part of the world, obviously of a much poorer class, but I had the pleasure of breaking bread with them, and I was horrified to know that families spend their life savings to make that one journey. You know, it's unimaginable for me that has lived a much more privileged economic life than my brothers that I shared bread with that night. And I was horrified to think that here is a man and woman who slaved, educated their children, and their dying wish was to spend their entire savings on performing Hajj or Umrah. Whereas I never ever thought about it that way, because I am working for my self-interest and for my family's benefit, which is so wrong when you think about it from a believer's point of view. I mean, we were sent here, as Gusto reminded me on many occasions, not to take from the people, but to give to the people. Okay? How many meals can you have in a day? You can be greedy and say, I want 6, but you're going to die of overweight or overeating or exhaustion, if nothing else. I mean, if you balance your life and you understand that we have more to give, and if we focus on the giving rather than on the taking, everybody wins. Okay? You guys are privileged and honored not only to be in this great nation, but to be the largest Muslim organization in the world. That is such a powerful statement, and it's such a privilege for you as members to say that. Okay? And what I'm telling you is, hey, nobody's heard of you. What have you done? What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And if that is what this forum is about, then not only people like me from the outside, and there are many good Muslims, much better than myself, that could be rallied to support us, but there are also many talented young men and women in this country that need an opportunity and need a break and are not getting it. The institutions control the world, when in fact it should be the people that control the world. So you have that power, and my job, if permitted, is to help your leadership in coming out with strategies and opportunities that will bring them the economic wealth they need to drive this organization to the next level, as Gusto would want. He wanted it not only for NU, but for his country. Sadly, as he said to me many times, I don't have enough time. And he did run out of time. One of the interesting things that the president also shared with me, which surprised me, was how do we bridge and bring the ASEAN into the subcontinent of India and China. At that time, 25 years ago, China was very much a different animal than it is today. It was not an economic power. It was an emerging base of interesting technologies. And one of the first things that I was able to do for Indonesia 25 years ago was I was helpful in advising the president, who then told his Minister of Oil to allow the use of Chinese oil rigs in the Java Sea, as opposed to bringing these monstrosities from the United States at a huge expense. To give you an example, a used oil rig that was the conventional wisdom of the oil companies that were operating here would cost between 400 and 650,000 or several $1 million to dismantle, bring, and reassemble here. The equivalent from China was $60,000. So compare $60,000 to 4.5 million. What would you take? Everybody was taking 4.5 million because nobody trusted the Chinese. Gusto took that chance because we were able to point out to him that, hey, the Java Sea is only 80 feet deep. You don't need these heavy rigs. This is not 300 feet we're talking about. That made a big difference. He also, if you recall, allowed or made possible for CNOC back when he was president to acquire a significant interest in alongside BP. Repsol and BP owned the Java oil fields, as I recall, and Repsol sold out and allowed the Chinese in. So one of his desires, again, as the head of NU and the head of a Muslim country, was to help and support the well-being of the Muslims in China, which I was not aware of. There was several 100 million Chinese that I had absolutely no idea existed. And he constantly pointed out that if you tie the economic power of in the subcontinent of China and India, how would it benefit my people and my country? And obviously, you all know in the last 25 years how that has impacted this part of the world. China has been a great resource not only for Asia, but even for the United States. 90% of the stuff that we consume there comes from China. So when our great president slaps on a 145% tariff, he's not paying it, we are. So it's a form of indirect taxations. And as Reagan had mentioned in his speech at the time, was tariffs don't work. And you are seeing that they are collapsing. And deals are being made, and we will, this tariff war, when it's over, will be significantly beneficial to not only Indonesia, but to this part of the world. And I think, and if you look at your GDP, as was earlier mentioned, it far surpasses that of any Western nation. You are not growing twice as fast or 3 times as fast, you're growing 4 times as fast. What does NU have to do with that? How does it benefit? How can it contribute to the continued success of that GDP? Those are the kinds of topics that we need to address and monetize. Again, in closing, all I wish to say is that the power of this organization is in your numbers. Don't overlook it, monetize it, and reap the benefits.
Thank you so much, Prof. Suhail. Before handing over to next presenter, I just have very short, quick response on what you have been saying. You mentioned two aspects that NU should be more proactive in this situation. My comment will be that, or something we have to discuss further, as we base on the statistical report, during the last 10 years or so, especially during Pak Joko Widodo era, where we have invested a lot in infrastructure, we have invested a lot in downstreaming, and etc. The fact is that our poverty is decreasing, but our inequality is increasing. And without further investigation on the data, it must be that, as Chairman Harry mentioned, we cannot disentangle Indonesia and NU and Indonesia, because majority of those people must be coming from NU. As you are coming from agricultural family, living in rural area, you know, pretty much living in underprivileged condition, in the bottom of pyramid, in the whole demographic structure of economy. So how can we incentivize this kind of situation where we do not have enough, we have numbers, yeah, but we are not like Muhammadiyah movement, our neighbor, which are more really into businesses, into hospitals, into educations, conglomeration of economic activities. So the DNA for NU is a bit different. Like economic is a bit in distance in our school of thought. We are very fluent in doing zikir, but not very fluent to calculate the income statement. And that happens from the center in Jakarta up to all NU pedalaman in remote areas. We have that kind of culture. So in your analysis and in your proximity with Gus Dur, understanding his school of thought, what will be the radical changes we need as NU organization now?
It's a great question and a great problem, but with every problem, as Gusto was said, there is a solution, or go find me a solution. As a leader, when he heard the problem came from the people, and his job was to provide a solution. I'll cite one example. I was sent to an island next to Bali. I forget the name. Lombok, correct. Lombok. Lombok was the little Muslim forgotten island 25 years ago. There was absolutely nothing going on there, other than a few friendly stray dogs running around. That was my impression of Lombok. I walked around, I went to the villages, I met with the people, and you know, I had to come back with a business model for Lombok, and I said, oh my God, there's nothing going on here. You know, people are not alive. They're alive, but not well, because nobody's thinking. They're just existing, and there's no investment in tourism. There's no connectivity between Bali or the Lombok and the mainland. Blah 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 blah. I'm sure Lombok has come a long way since I went there, but I did a very simple experiment to prove my point to the president. I said, I have an idea. Can I implement it? He said, how much is it going to cost? I said, not your problem. Okay. I, like most young men, was a fisherman. Back in the United States, I have a nice yacht. I have got all kinds of fancy fish finders and blah, blah, blah. And I enjoy fishing. And I saw that all these poor people living in villages live by the water. So I went and bought a very inexpensive fish finder. I mean, $20, $25. For $180, I had one village start making boats for me. You know, the boats that they row? So whether they carved out a piece of a tree or whatever, I contracted one village to make boats. 180 boats for 3 people. I gave them one styrofoam ice box, one ice pack, okay, and a fishing, not a fancy fishing rod, a fishing rod, rudiment fishing rod, and for every 20 boats with 3 people, I put one motorized vessel with a fish finder, who would go out, find the fish, and they would all drop their thing, and it became such a profitable business and it employed so many people. And my point was that, look, a simple technology has turned around. The one guy started making boats, and again, thanks to the Japanese that were interested in buying this fish. The problem with the fish is much like a unwelcome guest in the house. You know, when they come, you want to know how long they're staying, because after a while, they all start to smell, as they say. Fish comes from that. The thing that the Japanese taught us was, hey, you're catching all this fish, but it's going to go bad because your styrofoam is not good enough, you don't have freezers, etc. They came and taught these villagers how to cut the tail, you know, to get rid of the smell, to get rid of the blood, whatever. And then we from one boat to 10 boats to 180 boats, we set up a fish processing plant, and every night fishermen would come in, get paid, became economically empowered. The offtake was taken into a processing plant with the latest, the best machinery, flown overnight to Japan or China, where the markets were. So technology helped those Lombok villages into becoming. Then we created fish farms, you know, and nets. We grew them in, you know, what is it called? Fish farming, yes. Yeah. So I'm not saying that that's, you know, well, if I take that, I took a simple thought and a simple technology and put pretty much the whole of Lombok to work, that all those people that wanted to work, and they happily came, rowed their boat, because whatever fish they caught, we bought. Yeah. So it was a win-win. Today we have to do something similar. We all have grown up in the world of money. Money is controlled by banks, by foreign agencies, and by institutions that have been, frankly, rape, pillaging, and plundering us for fees, okay? I am a technologist. I am a disruptor. I come, as Gusto would want me to say, I come not to take, but to serve. I have technologies that I will wish to share with you people that is going to be very uncomfortable for the financial institutions, because you can do everything that they can do, and you don't have the army of people to hire, you don't have the, and you can provide the service far more efficiently, far more effectively than a bank. So we will discuss that.
Thank you so much, Prof. Suhail. Please give big applause for him. And I think indirectly, Pak Kozian, this is homework for BPIS, how to, you know, make technology more affordable and more linked towards our members of Nadien in all remote areas, so that they can leverage their economy. And talking about those unprivileged people around the world, I think Catholic movement is very much strong in the history of understanding poor people. I used to live in Spain for 3 years, and I have some kind of understanding that NU and Catholic is pretty similar. We have certain rituals, we have certain waliullah or saint, which called as bid'ah maybe for other people. So we share some commonalities, and oh yeah, Sir Suhail. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that Sir Suhail got the knight from the Tahta Suci Vatican, from the Holy See Vatican. So really inspiring person. So please give applause again, Prof. Suhail.
Well,
So again, come back. I think.
Sorry, I wanted to attribute that to the late Gusto. It was the work that he made me do, and it was as a result of the work that I did for him that I was recognized for my knighthood.
So applause to Gus Dur too then for his work and for connecting Pak Suhail. So again, talking about poverty, talking about those unprivileged community, not only in Indonesia, in all developing countries, Catholic movement has been playing important role. And the similarity of NU movement and Catholic movement, probably one of the reason why we are fairly close in all social movement that we have been getting along so far. So I'll be very happy to invite Romo Dr. Paulus Agung Wijayanto to give some remarks, comments, maybe some adding information or reflection on what's going on, and probably some insight from your thought. Romo, please, the floor is yours.
My dear brothers and sisters, first of all, I want to apologize because my English not so good. I'm not native speaker in English. And secondly, I also must correct, I'm not doctor. I'm just ordinary person, okay. And then thirdly, I apologize also because actually I do know this topic. Only a few days ago, Mr. Harry invited me to say something, to share. Well, it's not so scientific what I want to say, but just share. I hope we can share as Mr. Abdurrahman Wahid Gustur always said when he taught us. Okay, I feel very lucky because Gustur ever taught us in STF Triarkara. At the time, actually, Gustur had been elected already as the chief of Nahdlatul Ulama, but I don't know not until now. I don't know at that time. It seems like he likes teaching us many times. Even he's very busy, but he spent his time to teach us. And then at that time, who replaced him? At that time, who replaced him as our teacher is Mr. Johan Effendi. So the official teacher was Mr. Johan Effendi, but many times Gustur still taught us. I don't know whether it was set up by Mr. Johan Effendi because he's also busy traveling or training the kiais in Central Java or in whatever the name, and Gustur like. And then one day, during break we asked, Gus, why do you like teaching us? And then the answer is very amazing for us, because I want to share the richness of the Nahdlatul Ulama tradition and Islamic values. That's what I remember. And then we asked also, Gus, why you send your santris at that time, still in the initial stage? My classmate was, if you know, Mr. Budi Munawan Rahmat. Yeah, is my classmate. And also he sent at that time also Mr. Denny J.A., Mr. Munawir, Miss, now maybe it should be Mrs. Halimah. I don't know where is she now, because that's our friends, okay? And then we asked, Coach, why you send them to study together with us? Well, I don't want to underestimate, but I just share what he said. Well, he said like this, our santris, they have a good deep faith. That's the answer of Gustur. I do believe that one. And then what is lack of them is they need logic to systematize their faith. That's their value. I was really amazed at that time. Yeah, this is the way of thinking. We share the same way of thinking because we are also brothers. Brothers, what is brothers? Brothers is the persons who are preparing themselves to be priests. We realize that we have faith, but we need also logic, philosophy to systematize our way of thinking, including also our faith. And that's what we share together at that time. Okay. Another thing that I'm really proud of Gustur and happy, and maybe only few see this one. Yes, many people talk about Gustur. Gustur is a pluralist. It's very open-minded, and so on, so on. And for me, for myself, Gus Dur is person who is not threatening for others. Not threatening at all. Although he is the chief of Nahdlatul Ulama, but he can talk with anyone, even with us. Well, just imagine at that time we're still young and very innocent and it's simple, but it's not threatening us. And he listened, okay. And later on, for me, Gus Dur is person not only not threatening, but is person of nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. I want to say this from my perspective, from my background. This, just believe it or not, I'm Catholic priest, but my specialist is Buddhist studies. I've licensed to teach in the monastery, Buddhist monastery. I taught in Sanatata Dharma University for Buddhist studies. So, what we can accept Gus Dur, not only from the way of thinking, but okay, from Buddhist perspective, I want to say he is person of the so-called non-attachment. Is a person of detachment from the Jesuit or Catholic perspective. Or from Javanese perspective, is a person, I like to say, or pribadi yang tidak pernah milik gendong lali. How to say it in English? No self-interest in the sense malintention. Tidak ada rasa milik gendong lali. Is no greediness, no sense to attach. For the Buddhist is very important, attachment. Even for when talk about Islam, it doesn't want to attach in the sense open. That's the amazing for me, the perspective of the way of thinking or way of life of Gus Dur. For the Chinese, maybe can understand he is a person of Wu-wei. Wu-wei is also just milik gendong lali. Itu. So no bad intention. So he want to share the values. Okay, that's the amazing thing that I think it is time to add up the legacy of Gus Dur. People easy to trust him because he doesn't want, to do bad things. No malintention. That's what I like. Well, for perspective, pluralist, and many people share the same values, but with no malintention, is different values. Okay, different perspective, different way of life. That's what I learned a lot from him. Okay. Regarding the Islamic values, what I remember, and I like that one because he said at that time, for social justice, Islam tried to put the value of peace and then justice and prosperity. In the Catholic faith, we say then common good, bonus communes. So the richness of Indonesia or anything that we have, it must be shared with others. So it's not the purpose, but only means for something greater. I think that's very interesting values that I like. Then, well, Mr. Harry whispered me about how about the relationship between Indonesia, China, and India. For my own perspective, I ever lived in China in Taiwan. I ever lived in Goa. So I do believe in the past and now, this is the time of these three big countries to not only share common good, but also to share values, way of life. What is the sharing? Okay, from India, well, if we see the Southeast Asia, also even East Asia countries, actually India is the source for philosophy, religion, especially Buddhism, values. Whether we believe or not believe, but the value is still there. The Buddhist value, the Hindus value, the values. And then from China, from the beginning until now, I don't know whether it will be forever or not. The Chinese is a country, this is trade, business. They are businessmen. A practical person, they don't think, sorry, I don't want to say humiliate them, but unlike the Indian, the Chinese more practical, the Indian more philosophical. And where is the role of Indonesia? Indonesia is a very powerful country. I always amazed why Genghis Khan, Kubilai Khan attacked Indonesia, because Indonesia is very strong at that time. So Indonesia share also value. The problem of democracy is not so severe in the past. A lady become princess as the chief of the countries is very common in Indonesia. No problem. I always remind my friends, those who still use she and he. The Indonesian, we don't speak about he and she. Only one, dia, finish. So no biased gender, because there are another value. Men and women equal. Only he, dia, sorry, not he, she, how to say it. Okay, this is the amazing of Indonesian culture. And then about fashion, for example, the world spend billion and billion US dollar or maybe rupiahs for fashion, but for the Indonesian, especially I know a lot about Japanese, but Japanese people, we don't talk about fashion. Okay, I use the Indonesian word. Kita tidak bicara tentang berpakaian. We don't talk about wear clothes, but we talk about, kita bicara tentang berhiaskan. So the function, berhiaskan means ornament. How to say it in English? Ornament, okay? We not wearing clothes for the sake proposing or make the clothes more popular, but the clothes must make the user, the person who wears the clothes must be more beautiful or more handsome. I never heard about in the past person busy to put, what is the name, cap band. Okay, I wear Prada or Louis Vuitton or whatever the name. Okay, the main important for the Indonesian, whether the clothes and all the ornaments make you more beautiful or not, to bring out your inner beauty, your inner handsome or not. That is more important. So this is the values actually. If we want to talk about this triangle three angel, Indonesia, China, and India. I hope it's not only about politics, it's not only about economics, but the new values, the shared values that Gus Dur always remind us. We share value. We share values. This is more important. So I hope this become new identity in this most fast, or the fastest changing world in these days. I hope. So I don't know, because seems like the past values, the values of post World War II is no longer enough. We must have something. So my joy dealing or living with the NUs, because well, I'm used to the house of Miss Eri is my second house. Okay, anyway. The second thing that I'm very happy also, one day, maybe some of you know Father Vipo Sono. Yeah, I live together with him in the same communities. We discussed about, at that time, well, it is around 1980s, around that time. He said he is doctor in China studies. Yeah, in political Chinese studies. And then he said, Akung, the future of the world is changing. The role of China is very strong and powerful in the future. At that time, it's not as strong as now. But we Indonesian seems like we don't have any interest. Even during the time of Orde Baru, the Chinese were suppressed by Suharto. But this is the future. But the problem, who must convince this? We discuss, and then at that time we need a lot of human resources. I do agree what you said, sir. The power of NU. And I'm very happy because nowadays many NU scholars, they're fluent in Chinese. 他讲中文，他们讲中文很厉害。Okay, they speak Chinese very fluently. That's amazing. Okay, yeah, I think this is. I hope the relationship is not only we import from China in terms of goods or maybe science, but it's time also we share values to them. Because when I studied Buddhism in Hong Kong, I have a lot of people from China, Buddhist studies in Hong Kong University. I asked them, are you Buddhist? They said, no, we are not Buddhist, we are communist. I was shocked. How can you study Buddhism? Then they said, well, our Communist Party, secretary of the Communist Party, actually we are divided into two in general. Those who still consider religion as opium, and those who realize politics, the Red Book of Mao, ideology only give us ideology, patriotism, and so on, but not values. We must learn values, for example, truthfulness, love, generosity, and so on. That must be from religion, not from ideology. So I hope the relationship between Indonesia and China It's not only based on the material things, but also share values, as Gus Dur ever said to us. Okay, how about the to India? Well, I will propose also what Father Wibowo ever proposed to NU. It is time for the NU and also Indonesian actually to learn Indian language. Acha. If we want to deal, if we want to have good trade with them, we must know also their culture, their language, their way of life. Okay? We can use English because India is diverse communities, but I think it's better also if we can know their, the culture, the language, the prominent language, or the biggest group using that language, for example, Urdu, Hindi, Punjab, whatever. Okay. Knowing their language or being able to use their language and share values, I think it's time also. Sorry, I'm too long already. Okay, because you mentioned about Pope Leo 14th. Well, if you ask me about this present Pope, I do know a lot about him also, but from his decision to use the name of Leo 14, actually we can predict the direction the Catholic Church will be led by him. He purposely used the name of Leo, a successor, Pope Leo 13. Pope Leo 13 was a person who, the first Pope who paid attention for the social justice. At that time, the Catholic Church very busy on liturgy, pay attention on the ceremony and so on, so on, so on. Okay, but let's pay attention on social justice. I do hope what Mr. Gus Dur ever taught us, the concern of Muslim about peace, justice, and also prosperity can work together, because the present world is really changing very fast. The world order we cannot hold anymore, as we understood until now. Okay, I think it is enough. I hope.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Romo. Tepuk tangan untuk Romo for very thorough and thoughtful expression on how Gus Dur influenced in many interpretation that Romo has mentioned. I have to add some more explanation on Pak Suhail. So basically, Pak Suhail came here as well to promote horse polo as one of gold medal in the world, and probably the only Muslim to do so. So we have to be, very fortunate to have Prof. Suhail coming with us, and he's expert in golf polo. Hopefully, with Pak Prabowo, then he can get along and can influence some policy that can benefit all of us. Yeah. So please give applause. We still have some more time, not much. Maybe I just learned that Pak Hamid Alsagov couldn't join. Maybe 5 minutes each if Pak Kevin, you have something to say. Pak Kevin, do you have anything? Pak Kevin as Irishman, we have to thank Pak Kevin and Ireland for continued support for Palestine. That's much appreciated from us. So please, Pak, 5 minutes. Pak John, yeah, Pak John can also join the.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, I'd like to thank the board for inviting us here today. It's an amazing institution. The scale is fantastic, and I think the comments that have been made by the panelists reflect the awe that some of us foreigners feel when we're introduced to the details of what NU represents. It's interesting that Gustur has had such a huge impact on everybody who's met him. I sense that some of the overarching influence has been towards humanitarianism, kindness to one another, and to me that's the most important takeaway, I think, from today. If everybody can treat one another with kindness and decency, irrespective of their background or faith, I think the world will be a much better place. So, with the technology and the opportunity that Pasohel can bring to NU, I think NU has an amazing future, and the whole world looks to Indonesia because of its stability, because of its huge Islamic population. And if we can set a good example in financial activity as well as behavior, I'm sure the world will watch and try to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. We call him AA now because he's Sundanese. Thank you, Ian, AA, Kevin, for the time and for giving us a short reflection. And very agree with what you have been saying. Next, Pak Ian, do you have anything? You're from Jamaica, right? So I'm big fans of Asafa Powell and Dominica. Okay, so please give your some thought.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you. I did not come here to actually say any words, really. I was invited here by my good friend, Mr. Soleil. But I was touched by everyone here and the hospitality that have been given to me here. I think I'm the only Christian in this room. We have one more. Okay, so two of us. So you have 160 members. I understood 160 million plus two. All right? So I'm kind of touched here by everything that's going on. I come from the West, which is a very tiny island called Dominica. We have a population of 70,000 people. That's our population, compared to your population and also your NU members that I'm hearing about. Yet, we have a vote on the UN as a small nation of 70,000 people, which actually gives us a little bit more power than you all. So when I hear about the NU and the 160 million members, I believe strength is in numbers for real, and I think you all have an opportunity to bring it together, which is what I'm actually learning here and understanding everything that Mr. Soleil is actually preaching. If we think of technology, and I heard Mr. Soleil said that he's a disruptor, we have to think of the days before the wheel was created, let's say. That was one of the interrupters as well. Fire was another one. The Wright brothers in 1902 have actually afforded me now the privilege to fly for 24 hours to be here for the first time in Indonesia. Though I've been doing business and ordering container loads of material from Indonesia for the past 20 years, I have never actually been here before. So this is also a good privilege to be here, and that was also technology again that created that opportunity to be here. We were also taught growing up as a Christian that our God and who we worship is the sole only, and everyone else, Muslim or whichever other religion that you're part of, is nothing. And we have to go out there and bring you into Christianity. Technology again have changed that, because now we can see for ourselves, we can read, and this thing here, the telephone, has created that for us, where we now can think for ourselves and we do not have to go by the institutions to think for us. It's the same thing I believe will happen with money. Because yes, we are separated by how we worship, but we all need money and we all use money, no matter which religion you're from. And if Mr. Sohail can unite the NU, and basically I'm also going to lobby for him to actually be part of our Christian community and try to help us as well unite. Imagine what it could do to the world, where we now cannot just actually fight each other based on religion, but we know we'll be united, because now we will have a platform, we will have technology, we will have our own bank, and we can do all the things that we are talking about here and saving lives with one interrupter. And I really do appreciate the privilege to be here, to actually listen and understand. And my job now and my purpose now, I believe, is to not just think of ourselves, but to think as all of us as one community, as one human race, and to be humble in it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pak Ian, for thoughtful. Thank you so much, appreciate it. I think we have been very close to the end, but Pak John, any remarks that you would like to share with us?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya John Masli. Saya dengan Pak Sohail. Jadi saya diminta Pak Sohail untuk menjadi komentator. I think I'm most in the best position to comment about the proposal. Boleh kalau saya ngomong bahasa Inggris, Pak, supaya dia juga bisa dengar. Okay. I grew up in Palembang in the Muslim community. I'm Chinese by blood, born in a small town in a small district in Palembang. So I know NU for all my life. I'm now 70. I know your values. And if I were to be born again, I may be Muslim. I might be Muslim. Okay? Because although I'm born Chinese, but I do learn a lot from Pak Rizal Ramli. Siapa tidak tahu Pak Rizal Ramli? Does everybody know Pak Rizal Ramli? Okay, they all know. Rizal Ramli was my very, very good friend. He passed away already. In fact, I was his partner in commenting, criticizing the government. That is why I left Indonesia in 2014 when I criticized Jokowi heavily. Pak Hashim know that too. In fact, I was with Pak Hashim, was against Jokowi at that time. And then my wife was offered a green card, that's why we moved to America. So saya tinggal di Amerika sejak tahun 2014. At that time saya pikir Indonesia ini dengan Jokowi akan maju pesat karena ada mental revolution yang beliau canangkan. Apparently he didn't do it. So I came back many times. Every time I came back to Indonesia, I found the poverty got worse and worse. We've been talking too much about politics, too much about values, too much about unity, but no action. Now we are talking about growing 8%. You think we can do it? Honestly speaking, you think we can do it? We will never do it unless, just like Pak Rizal Ramli talk about it 3 tahun sebelumnya ya, before he passed away. We would never make 8% katanya, unless you have a breakthrough economic policy or game changer like what Sohel had been talking about. But I don't think most of us do understand really the power of you guys with what, 70 million, 80 million people. Kalau dipersatukan dalam satu Islamic bank, Bank NU, with everyone can contribute $500 saja, you know how much you're going to be have. I mean, you're going to be having the power, the economic power. Jadi kita menghargai perdebatan ekonomi, perdebatan politik, sosial, but we need action to grow 8%. With the current situation I've been looking, no way you can do it unless you have an action economic plan yang baru. Tanpa itu kita hanya omong-omong saja, Pak. Sampai kapanpun kita akan begini terus. Kita berkutat di masalah persatuan, masalah sosial politik. Karena apa? Kita ini negara majemuk. Kita terpaut di situasi, terjebak di situasi yang begitu terus-menerus. So, there's no action. Action pun, you don't only need regular action, you need a very good action. A breakthrough action. That's what we need. Now, finance is always, itu selalu masalah kita, bukan? Sekarang ini kita krisis keuangan, Pak. Negara kita ini, betul nggak? Jadi, tanpa a breakthrough financing scheme, ya, to turn around the economy, we will never make 8%. Saya sudah 2 bulan di sini. Saya ke beberapa kota di Sumatera. Kemiskinan itu luar biasa. Sempat saya sama istri saya keluar air mata melihat seorang Muslim di Palembang. Sekelompok, bukan seorang, sekelompok Muslim di Palembang menarik barang-barang asongan tuh dijual. Terus saya tanya kepada para penjual itu, berapa pendapatan ibu sehari, bapak sehari? 30.000 Pak kami dibayar kalau laku. Kok Indonesia masih begitu? You know, Nahdlatul Ulama is bigger than Germany. It's bigger than France. If you put all the Muslim together, yang mengakunya Nahdlatul Ulama. I have come every day driving di depan, in front of your office here 40 years when I was living in Kelapa Gading. Every time I want to stop by, I had to contact Pak Rizal Ramli. Otherwise, mereka palakin saya karena saya Chinese. Oknum ya, saya tidak mengatakan. Mau ketemu ketua umum Gus Dur waktu itu, susah sekali minta duit. By God blessing today, I don't know why, I told Sohail, this is the building I wanted to come for 40 years. Dan saya disambut luar biasa because I told them I was the guest of Pak Sohail. Can you imagine? 45 years I've been driving around every day from my house to my office di Sudirman. But only Pak Rizal Ramli that could take me once, only once. Hari ini saya sangat terhormat. Demikian komentar saya. Terima kasih, Pak.
Terima kasih, Pak John. Cukup atau cukup? Baik. So, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, we have been having a great discussion today. Bu Lisa, do you have anything to say?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore semuanya, kedengaran? Ya, saya hanya mau mengucapkan terima kasih banyak untuk kawan-kawan dari NU atas terselenggaranya acara hari ini. Untuk kawan-kawan ISNU, thank you so much moderator. Mungkin saya mau sedikit menceritakan saja. I'm saying it in Indonesian, I'll translate to English. Bagaimana sampai kita hari ini beruntung sekali bisa kedatangan seorang Sir Sohail di Indonesia. Jadi sekitar bulan Januari saya tuh bincang-bincang dengan Pak Hashim, karena saat itu kan sempat ada kita karena beliau dan Pak Prabowo kan sangat menyukai kuda ya, terutama main polo. Nah saat itu kita bincang-bincang mengenai polo yang ada di Indonesia ini, terutama dengan adanya niat untuk membangun polo di Bali. Nah di situ saya menghubungi sahabat saya Mo yang ada di Singapura. Oh, he's coming back, he's gone ya. Untuk membicarakan nih siapa kira-kira expert di bidang polo. Dan dari sana beliau menghubungi seseorang, yaitu memang yang jagonya soal kuda, soal polo, yaitu Sir Sohail. Jadi beliau tidak hanya advisor daripada Gus Dur, tapi beliau adalah juga peternak kuda. Jadi mempunyai kuda banyak sekali di Florida. Dan beliau seperti yang di-mention tadi ya, adalah the Muslim winner polo player in the world. Tepuk tangan dong untuk beliau. Jadi dari sana awal mulanya datangnya beliau, baru saya tahu kalau beliau juga adalah advisor dari Gus Dur. Dan dari sana saya langsung menghubungi adik saya, Gus Heri. Saya sampaikan rasanya ini yang cocok untuk bincang-bincang dan bisa banyak belajar perihal apalagi mengenai apa yang Gus Dur saat menjadi seorang presiden, apa saja advice yang diberikan oleh seorang Sohail kepada beliau, dan bagaimana sampai Gus Dur beliau bisa menghubungi Sohail untuk menjadi seorang advisor. Mungkin sesi kedua ya, sesi selanjutnya, karena banyak rasanya yang bisa dikupas di sini, yang bisa kita pelajari dari beliau. He is amazing, dan beliau bersahabat dengan banyak sekali kepala negara di dunia ini. Dan kebetulan timingnya kali ini kesini karena memang ada undangan. Jadi ada tamu beliau yang dari United Nations yang diundang secara resmi juga oleh negara, dan karena itu kita gunakan kesempatan ini juga sekalian kita buat acara ini. Dan insya Allah ini tidak yang pertama ya, tapi bisa dibuat lagi beberapa sesi ya, dan kita doakan beliau juga bisa menjadi not just advisor for Gus Dur but advisor for NU, insya Allah. Thank you.
Thank you so much Ibu Luisa, and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu sekalian atas partisipasinya. Mungkin as I mentioned to you, sulit untuk menyimpulkan diskusi kita, tapi kalau kita lihat bagaimana humility, kemudian social responsibility, taking care of this problem together, dan realizing our potential as Nahdlatul Ulama. We are comprising all over population in Indonesia, and there is a time, seperti Pak John bilang, real action that can be beneficial for everybody, for all Nahdien, mereka-mereka yang mungkin underprivileged in many remote area. Maybe you are here, we are more privileged to think, to act, to give policy, and to contribute for the country and for our society. Terima kasih, mohon maaf atas segala kekurangan dalam moderasi acara ini. Selanjutnya akan ada token of appreciation will be given by Pak Heri Haryanto Azumi for Sir Prof. Sohail and Romo, photographer, silakan. Yeah, the first token of appreciation will be handed over to Prof. Sohal Sattar Qureshi. Pak Heru, Pak Heri. Silakan. Kepada Romo. Berdua mungkin. Fotografer.